Hello to all the beautiful souls out there this evening, this morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Today, I wanted to talk about, or tonight, who gives a fuck? I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here, who cares? But anyway, I want to talk about integrity and authenticity. You know, oftentimes in this life, you will encounter people who want you to change or do what they did in their situation because they feel like that's best for you. But authenticity and integrity is doing what aligns with you, what feels right for you, no matter the external circumstance, no matter the situation you're going through. You always remain true to who you are. Because if you try and do what somebody else did in their situation, it might not work for you because you're not in their situation. You're in your situation and you're you. You're not them. And I find that a lot of our troubles come from listening to people who tell us what we should do rather than the people who give us options of what we could do. Like, if you're going to listen to anybody, listen to the person who says, hey, you could do this or you could do this because they're presenting it as a possibility, as one of many options. But if someone is telling you, hey, you should do this is what you have to do, then don't listen to what they have to say because how does anybody know what you should or shouldn't do? I've tried to I'm in the process of removing should from my vocabulary even when talking to myself because I'm like, well, there's nothing I should or shouldn't do. It's all about what I do or I don't do. What can I do rather than telling myself, oh, you should do this, you have to do this, you gotta go do this. It's like, no, what do I want to do? What do I feel like doing? What feels right for me? Even when recalling past events, instead of being like, oh, well, I didn't like how I interacted with that person there. I should have did this. I should have did this. I'm like, no, I should have did exactly what I did because that's what I did. But if I don't like the particular way that I interacted in that situation, I'm like, okay, what could I have done instead? So that way in the future, I I already had the mental conversation with myself to be like, okay, so if the conversation goes this way, this is one way I can approach it rather than, you know, beating myself up and saying, oh well, I should have did this and I failed at that conversation and this was a mistake. I should have done that. Like, no, there are no mistakes. There's nothing that happens that's not supposed to happen. That's what I've learned is that everything that happens. I have a bit of a cough right now. It's Florida, but it's like fucking 40, 30 degrees outside. I don't know. This shit's crazy. Apparently it's snowing in Tallahassee. I don't know. I miss out here, but hey, we thugging it. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, you don't beat yourself up over saying, "Oh, I should have did this," or "I should have did that," because nothing happens. God, okay, mucus. Nothing happens that's not supposed to happen ever. It's all in divine timing. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of what's supposed to be going on. It's all. It is what it is, you know. So you gotta just live life, go through it, learn your lessons, and just know that there's always a possibility of what could have been done differently, but don't beat yourself up over the way that things were done because they were meant to be done that way in that moment. Either, well, always for your growth, not even either, like always. Everything that happens, everything you do is for your growth to facilitate you to reach that next level of consciousness, that next level of awareness, the next level of just being. So if anyone tries to get you to sacrifice your authenticity, sacrifice who you are, sacrifice your integrity because they feel like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I did this and it worked for me. Well, I'm very happy for you and kudos. That's awesome. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. And the greatest part is, you don't know anybody an explanation. God, Florida needs to switch their shit up. I don't know what they got going on right now. Whoever controlling the weather machine, they need to turn that shit back up because it just got cold as fuck out of nowhere. Anyway, I'm all fuck the weather. Don't let anybody tell you what you have to do and don't feel like you have to report what you're doing or why you're doing it to anybody. If somebody doesn't understand why you're doing the things you're doing, who cares? It's not for them to understand. It's for you. Half the time, the shit we do isn't even for us to understand. It's for us to just do it and be. Honestly, like you get from having to like doing to point where you're just being. You don't even worry about what you're doing anymore. You're like, okay, I'm just being me. So whatever I do is just an expression of me being my authentic self. I don't have to, or you don't have to. Nobody has to sit here and say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna do this because I want to do this and this, that." No, I don't give a fuck why you're doing what you're doing. As long as it works for you and you're not infringing on me and my free will and my life, then ah, live your life. Be happy. That's what we're here for. We're not here to dictate what other people do. We're not here to tell people how they should experience life, how it worked for us. So you have to do it like this. No, that's not what I'm here for. I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life. I can give advice. I can give guidance. That's what I love doing. I love to teach. I love to, share the wisdom and the knowledge that I've accumulated over my, spiritual journey. But I'm never gonna sit here and tell you like, oh, so if you want to be happy, you have to do this. This is what you have to do. And if you don't do this, you're not going to be happy. You have to do it the exact way that I did it because it worked for me. And if it doesn't work for you, then you're just a failure because you need to figure it out. And it's like, no, we're all on our own paths. We're all just trying to live life. We're all trying to be happy. We're all just trying to experience joy. We're all just trying to be. So just let people be. Well, I'm not even going to say I don't understand why because I do understand why people try and tell other people what to do or how to live or how to be. It's because they themselves don't truly understand how to live and how to be. So they try to gain some sense of validation and superiority by saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. And then even like a lot of the times it's not like ill will. They don't mean you any harm. They're not trying to, steer you in the wrong direction. They just haven't expanded their consciousness enough to understand that their direction isn't your direction. It's not one direction. It's not a fucking boy band. It's life. And you gotta just go your direction, follow your path, follow your call, whatever calls you, whatever you feel drawn to do, then go do that in whatever way seems fit. And don't beat yourself up over mistakes, which are really just lessons. If you just open your eyes, open your eye, and see that, oh, this is what I learned from this. I didn't like how I did this. So in the future, I'm going to approach a similar problem in a different way. And by doing that, you embody your truest, most authentic self more and more, and it gets to a point where you don't have to think as much about what you're doing because you just do it. You just be. That's just who you are. It's like, oh, why wouldn't I do this? This is me. This is what feels right to me. So I'm gonna do it. So just do it. Why not? Who's gonna stop you? The only one who can stop you is you. You're free as long as you choose to be free. But if you put your freedom, your happiness, your joy, your peace, or whatever the fuck else in the hands of somebody else, then you're not truly living. You're surviving. You're searching for validation, and that's not a life you want to live. That just sucks to live your entire life being like, man, I hope this person approves of what I'm doing, how I'm living, what I'm saying. It's like, who cares? I know. I don't. And I used to a while ago. Like I used to live a life like, man, I need to do this in order to be valid. I need to do this in order to, be approved, be liked. And eventually got to a point where I'm like, none of that shit matters. It really doesn't. I've been doing all of this for what? For nothing. So why don't I just live the way I want to live so that I can truly be happy? And ever since I made that switch, I can say, you know, for sure that I'm much happier. I don't worry about what other people got to say about me. People are always gonna have something to say about you, no matter what you do. You could fucking give $1 billion to charity, and somebody's gonna say, "Oh, why didn't you give $1 billion and $2? Why didn't you give 2 billion? Why didn't you do this and do that?" It's like niggas, niggas will always have some shit to say, bro. So just do you, just be happy, and that's the message. Love y'all. Stay safe. Stay warm. Turn up. Thank you.